Are we live? Are we live? Okay, yes, we're live. Alrighty. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to part 3 of the model import streams. And this should be the last of the import streams. So tonight I'll be going over how to do crew, both idle and paths, the main damage model for the ship, and some general model fixing and tweaking. So I'm going to start off with crew first because that won't take as long as the damage model. But what we need to do is go to our navigator. Edit the blank. Okay. So after the last stream, I went back and I added in all of the weapon slots. That took an age. I also had to import the secondary guns, which I'm going to show you this right quick. When you're having to do casemate guns, there's a little heads up. So you have to make sure they're centered, of course. That's why I messed up on my director was I didn't center it on this screen over here. But also you need to make certain that the barrel is pointing up as well. So you need to rotate the model around on the axis. And that's generally it for casemate gun. And on the subject of crew, there was one thing I forgot to mention about AA guns. So if you want to add crew to AA guns, one way of doing it would be to add this. This slot right here. Make certain that all your spelling is correct, as it will cause a crash. Trust me, I speak from experience on that. But basically, just add that comment in, but that surface. And then, I don't believe there's anything in Lightwave as far as that goes. Yeah, there's, so literally just a modeler, add that in. And then in note, in your device class, right down here would be where you actually add in the gunner crew. Now, some models like to use a physical crew model. I don't have access to that, so this is the only way I have currently to do that. But on to our actual topic for tonight. So for crew, it's basically handled just like any other slot. So your idle crew is literally just your idle slots here. And each, and I'll go over this in a bit, but both the US and the Japanese have 4 different type of idle crew member models. Like that was my officer. So for crew, what you want to be made aware of is where your spawn point is at. So a good way of finding out is generally just popping in the slot, going into the game to see where the crew is at, which way they're facing. Because I believe is this right here, this spot here is, I believe it's the spawn point. And you can just rotate it like this. This is if you want to change the orientation a little bit. And I'm only going to do a couple of these just to show how they're actually done. Oh, okay, there you are. So for you, I know what I want you to be. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Alright, there you are. I want to get you. I'll make you a little bit off center. That looks about right, good. This was idle 1, idle 2. Well, in here. I'll do fire. Okay. Do that now. And also try to get them as on deck level as possible so they don't like that floating or sinking into the floating or sinking. Okay, and then one more. Where my idol go to? There you are. Alright, and that's pretty much all you have to do for idols. Now, the paths. So these are basically just loops. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into a new layer. So you can put these somewhere where they make sense, which is going to be kind of difficult for this model, to be honest. And so yeah, crew would just follow this path. And I'll go a little bit more in detail on this in just a bit. I want to say there's a door somewhere here. I haven't personally tried this, and I guess you could do this, get them to where they could walk up the steps. That would probably result in a lot of tweaking and stuff to do that. But I've not seen that done, I recall, on any ship ever. And you also want to make sure that this is as close to deckline as possible, so to make sure that all your path lines are flat. So, like I said, make sure that it doesn't look like anyone's trying to float or appearing to levitate. If you want to adjust these, just go to points, select a point, and just move it around. Use some. That's pretty much how I edit my paths. Yeah, that looks good for about now. Alright, so I want to extend this out a bit. That's not what I want to put. And that's pretty much all you have to do for crew. It's not really all that complex. Well, like I said, the idols are the ones that just stand around, and these paths for the ones that actively walk around and run about. But for crew, that's pretty much all you have to do. One goes this. Come on, let me here. Play. Apply all of our blank. And let's re-export this. I may have to re-import my, oh no, there they are. Okay. Okay, so now to do crew in the game, go to your ship and vehicle class, and then go down into the traffic. So this section right here is pretty much the animated crew. And then your idols are, of course, your idols. There, as I said, both Japanese and US get 4 different types. So for your idols, both get 2 versions of the officers. One which, like you see right here, one uses the binocular and the other doesn't. I know I have it somewhere on another one. And you have 2 different animation styles for the regular crew. I generally try to do like a good mixture of them. I mean, in the end, you're really not going to notice them that much. So actually, I got 4 of them, so I'm just going to delete the rest of these. I'm going to delete this path because I don't need it right now. Okay, so paths. So when you do, so just like, okay, so path IDs is the path number that you put down, and same thing with these position IDs is the slot numbers. You want to make certain that these are generally matched up. But there are at least 3 animated crew models. You have a walk for the crew and officer and a crew run. I don't remember if there's a run for the officer. I don't quite remember. But typically, the only thing you really need to be sure of is so this Matros is a crew, and then any officers would have the officer tag on it. Start point, end point, you don't typically need to worry with. If you have cyclic turn to false, that's generally when you need to focus on this. This is basically your spawn and despawn points. Cyclic is basically a loop. If you have this to true, the crew would just follow that path. They won't spawn, despawn. If you have it set to false, they'll walk to a point, disappear, and reappear at a different point. So I really don't know what benefit having this false versus true is. But if you do have this set to false, just know that you will have to tweak around with your points a bit. So it doesn't look like that they're disappearing or disappearing out of thin air. I will say in my experiments, for some reason, having this set to true as for Japanese, it creates a copy of that crew. So you actually have two crew on this one path. The US doesn't have that, so I don't know what's going on with that. But you can overlay paths, so like for instance this one, you can create a third path, lay it on top of this. You can have a crew walk and run along that same area with two different paths. Speed just pretty much denotes how fast they go. I haven't really experimented much with this other stuff to know what it does, so I'm not gonna say anything about those. But what I'm going to do is on my idols, I'm going to actually put you up here. I need to find my gun because I know I got it. Yes, thank you. So I just need to put rerun on that one. So I just put two. So Jap officer idol. That's what I need. And change this to two, and then let's make this run. Right, then let's load this up in game. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything that might cause a crash. Shouldn't. Wrong file. Okay. So I won't have to re-import my STCs. But as you can see, for crew, my idols, there's my officer use binocular, my static officer, my crew, and other crew. So my path didn't actually transfer, so I'm gonna have to re-import my STCs. That's not a biggie. But that's pretty much all you have to do with crew. So now I'm going to focus on the damage model. A few things about the damage model for BSM. So BSP has damage physics where you can have stuff blow off bits and pieces of stuff in the hole, have holes and bits in them. BSM can't do that. So the main damage models for BSM ships is pretty much your funnel and superstructure stuff. But I mean, honestly, despite some of its limitations, BSM does have a pretty detailed damage model effect. Like you can have slots. I mentioned this before, but like you can have flags, smoke disappear. You can have any weapon slots be disabled and disappear. Crew, once the damage model activates, will disappear. So I mean, it can be quite detailed despite its limitations, but that's the only other major area that BSM differs from BSP is in how detailed damage models actually are. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into a model to do that. Actually, what I'm going to do, I want to take a look. I like to try to compare different damage models. I want to see what the Fuso Condors look like. And doing the damage models are actually pretty simple and easy too. The longest thing is going to be actually making the damage model itself. But getting them set up and modeled in Lightwave is pretty quick, easy, and simple to do. Okay. Water, water. Okay. So they didn't even do a real superstructure damage model for Cruiser, or even the funnel. Which is surprising because I could have sworn in my childhood she had a funnel damage model. Interesting. But yeah, as you can see, and I'm going to bring this up in a bit as well. So, actually, I'll go ahead and mention now. So, yeah, the story texture here is used very sparingly on these. As you, yeah, see, they didn't disable those slots. But as you can see, they mainly use a shader to do mainly their damage model. I don't know how to do that, and that's something I want to learn how to do. And because I like my models to be as close to vanilla quality in all aspects as possible. What does Congo look like? As a matter of fact, alright, so for this, they did do a funnel. They do some pretty detailed damage models that I would love to learn how to do like this. Okay, change you back to the gato. Also, if you want to know how to change it, SCNs like this, let's go to settings, style configure. Where was it? Change this to alleyway, and put SCN on this one. And then just reload this SCN, and that's how you can get it set up like this. Okay, but now I'm going to get onto the actual main damage model. Okay, so for... Oh, yeah, blanks, get rid of those. Okay, so each damage model section you have, you need to have 2 layers for it. And so I'm going to do the bridge and the funnel, so I'll need 4 total layers. And you want to be careful here as well to make sure you get everything that you need. And when you select these bits, make sure you actually delete them off of here, because what will happen is if you don't, the game will render this on top of your healthy layer, and that can cause issues up into including crashing. And that's no brainer. That actually helps out tremendously with this. So what I'm going to do, I'm not worrying about the F superstructure. I may do one for the F superstructure. I haven't quite determined that yet. And I'm not going to worry about this stuff here. Actually, for the purpose of this damage model, I don't want any of this. Let's get all my stuff that I need. See, this rigging I need. I don't need this. This rigging can stay. And I'm actually going to follow this rigging. Let's make this one. I'm actually am going to take this. So yeah, so just make sure you get everything that you actually need for each layer. Let me find for this. So this first layer will be your healthy layer. Ooh, actually, I don't want you to oppose this. You stay a part of the whole. So copy all this into this layer, and this will be your damage layer. So this one you can delete everything that you don't actually need. You can make the entire thing a damage model. I like to try to do mine a little bit more sparingly. And for the purpose of this one, I'm only going through with this top part. So let's get rid of all this. No, I won't do that. Now the funnel. How much of the funnel do I actually? Hmm, that'll be actually fine for now, actually. Okay, actually, I don't need these pieces. They are go with this. So yeah, it's pretty much anything in the damage layer that you don't want to appear when the damage model takes effect, just delete it. But make certain that it is in the health layer. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do for right now for damage stuff. Okay, so I do need to get the proper. So all of your healthy layers are going to have this. So you have the name, whatever you want to name it. So for mine will be Bridge of Funnel, followed by the EP Physica, and then 0 followed by whatever layer it is. So your first one will be 0, 0. The second layer will be 0, 1. Actually, I'm just going to copy this entire. And all your damage layers gets this, the Rocks Physica. And I meant to change that number. And that's really all you have to do as far as that goes. Now, you don't really have to do anything with your health layers. Now, your damage layers is where things start to get more interesting. So, again, you can make the entire thing a destroyed layer. I like to, until I can figure out how to do shaders and stuff like the devs did, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative on that. So I'm going to show you how I do it for the funnel and walk you through some of it. And then I'll do the same thing for the bridge. What I'm just going to do is delete this funnel grading. Alright, I have an idea of what I want to do. Pick up the entire top half. I'll make this a destroy texture. I believe all they get is. Yes, all they get is a MSHD. And I believe movie. I edit all. Let's call it dead. Make sure you have that space. Shift by MSHD. I'm gonna make this double sided. And make sure that you apply your UV destroy textures. Also do UV speck and bump as well. This is why I need to learn how to use the knife, because I can make some better detailed damage models with this. I actually don't want any of this as part of my damage. I could keep this simple. Okay, yeah, I was hoping to. Look at that. What is this? I'm not going to be going much in depth on this, but as you can see, you can pretty much make with BSM's relatively limited damage model stuff, you can actually make some pretty detailed damage models. And this is pretty much what takes the longest of all this. That's what I'm going to really focus on for now on this. But that's pretty much all you really have to do for damage models and modeler. So I'm just going to leave this as is. I'll do a much more detailed one for the finished product. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bridge, and I'm going to put on some background music. So if y'all want to watch this part again, you can. I will have timestamps in the video so you can skip past this part. But I will catch you all on the flip side. Okay, I think that's pretty good for a first pass damage model. Doesn't look bad. I tell you, I hate to be the one stationed up here when this thing goes into effect. That would be scary as all get out. But we have our healthy layer for our bridge, funnel, the damage for the bridge and funnel. So we are now done in modeler. So now we just need to go to that way. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to clear out my SD sleeves. I'm going to reload them so I have my paths. There we go, there's my paths. I'm going to hide damage. Okay. Oh, the other thing I need to do is reapply all of my blanks. And blanks get applied to the damage stuff as well. Okay. Now the only wow, it really does not like blanks. So the only thing we have to do now, we got some comments left to do. And I need to load up a new instance so I can have those comments. That's my gun though. Okay. So every single one of these layers get this comment. The same thing as like each of your whole sections do. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and apply it. This is how I prefer doing it. But for my damage, I'm gonna go ahead and apply them to the top. Each of your damage layers get the damage 2 comment. Each of your healthy layers get the damage 1 comment. And that's all we got to do. I run my mod. Hoping we're fine here. My model viewer, my man. Okay, there we go. And if you just press K, there's our damage model. And healthy layers. And that's all you have to do. Just re-import that into the game. And we have just a little bit extra script work to do. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work with that. But I know what happened with that. So what I'm gonna have to do on my damage model is I'm going to have to be far more selective while I make double-sided. So I can get this back now. Let me go into this. Go down to our damage GFX. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm getting rid of the flag because I don't actually need it. I didn't do the superstructure. But the slots, what was those? $36 and $35, I believe. $36 and $35. And then my 4-2 directors. Which were excuse me, slightly 50 and 50. Right now, this locks the game. It should be fine. Seriously, come on, everybody, don't do that to me. So yeah, using double-sided will greatly increase your file size. So you definitely want to be as sparing with that as possible. And also having the damage layer as well will also make, because you're basically having 2 copies of these. So that will also increase your file size as well. Like I said, I need to figure out how the devs optimize their models to have them so small. As you can see right now, this is our healthy layer. And get trusty Yamato over here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put you on water. That was a bad shot, Yamato. Right, and there is our damage model activation. So as you can see, our crew are gone. Our animated crew and stuff is gone. My funnel smoke is no longer there. And these AA gun mounts and my directors are no go. I'm curious though. Yeah, so no, I am correct in that assumption. So yeah, you can make some pretty detailed damage models that actually get rid of AA guns. So you could actually make your ship weaker. I personally don't like doing that. I may not really have much of a choice with Nagato. But yeah, and like I said, I really want to learn how to do it like they did it, like the devs did theirs. So, like even for the carriers. The carriers pretty much just got the little island stuff that they get destroyed on them. See, they don't have all the flight deck and stuff like they did get Pacific. But this is kind of the style that I want to try to get to. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all you have to do for damage models and crew. I'm gonna actually restart this and make sure my animator ones are there. Yep, there they are. See what I'm talking about? For Japanese, when they set the cycle, for some reason it spawns two copies of them. But they will follow that path, and he will follow this path. I'm pretty sure there should be a second one behind him somewhere. Or is it just gonna make me have to be a liar? Okay, for some reason this one it just did it one copy. I don't understand the HPCs behind this at all. But I mean, as far as actually getting them set up and all that, that's all you have to do. And that's pretty much it. There is one particular thing about War on the Sea models that you do have to be aware of. See, like this right here, I'm pretty sure it is on this side. Some, for some reason, these stuff like this don't always get transferred properly, and then bits like this, for some reason, get flipped. It's pretty easy to get all this fixed and modeled. I mean, you don't have to because I mean, they're pretty much just minor details that you're probably not gonna notice. And I still gotta figure out what's going on with these textures here. Because the Agano had this little black streak on this bottom side of the tents and on the weapons that I somehow managed to fix, and I don't know how I did that. But I'm going to show you basically some general modeling fixes stuff. But as far as general importing and all that, that's pretty much it. At this point, you can import any model you want to into BSM. Carriers are a bit different. They do have flight deck stuff that needs to be done. I haven't figured out what all that stuff is. I'm still waiting on assistance for that. But once I figure out how to do that and get that done from Essex, I'm going to import the Sokaku. And I'll do a. I won't do a live stream, but I will do a video showing how to get carriers set up, specifics for them. And submarines are very basics. I'll show you the Gato, and I may do a video showing how to do submarines, specific stuff for submarines. But they are literally so very basic. But as far as War on the Sea model tweaks, get rid of these blanks. So like this right here, this is going to be bloody difficult to find. Here it is. So these are the rating sticks, I like to call them. Just find where on the model they wasn't actually applied to. Just copy and paste them, and just put them all the way over into the spot. And you don't have to be exact with this. That looks about right. So people just go through and just find areas like that that they do get applied to and just add them. Some of the smaller ones you may not be able to do. It's really no biggie. But for railing meshes like this, you can do a couple of things. What is this actually in? Was it this piece or was it this? No, it was this piece. Like you can just. There's my thing. So that you can literally just like bump it up just a teeny tiny little bit. I have to get very nice and close on this. So you can do stuff like that to make it match up. Or like, what you can do is find the proper axis, flip it 180, and try to get to a line up again. Well, so you can just tweak and do stuff like that a little bit. It does take some time and some back and forth, but that's generally all you have to really focus on for these specific models. Working on those. But beyond that, that's pretty much it. I mean, of course, through the course of this Livestream series, I've said you had to import a ship from start to finish into BSM, and specifically for Warner C models, specifics for them as well. So as I said, carriers are a bit different, and once I figure out how to get that working, I'll show you specifically on carriers. Submarines are very simple. I'm going to show you right now with the Gato. Like, I kid you not, like they are extremely basic. Like all you need to do is the props, the rudder, get those pivots done, a log collider, your hitbox, but I don't think I actually color coded this. Well, your hitbox is literally just a once it loads up, it's literally just one giant body armor index. And give it a little bit to load everything in. Okay. Yeah, see, it's literally just one massive body armor index, and that's it for submarines. And then, of course, your collider and log. The only specific thing that submarines get was, let's see, you still have your deck line, bottom line, ship center, bow and stern wave, wash, and then your weapon slots. The only specific thing submarines really get is periscope, and that's it. And for BSM, I don't know how it is for BSP, but for BSM, you kind of want to have a long stick like this, so that way it doesn't appear that the periscope model, is just sticking up into the ocean all by itself. Having a stick like this, you can just take a bit of it, copy it, paste it, and line it up to the bottom of it to extend it. This way, the periscope actually looks like it's attached to the submarine when it is extended. And then for slots, literally all they get is, there is it. What's this called? So wave tower. This is the little wave that spawns when the periscope is raised, and the periscope sight is the little periscope sight view that you see in game when you activate the periscope. And that's literally all they get. That's specific for submarines and modeler. And then light wave. All you have to do is do this comment right here for the periscope. And that's literally all you really have to do for submarines. Everything else is the same. Again, I plan on probably showing how to do submarine specifically, actually. But I mean, that's pretty much all you have to really focus on submarines on that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, this took, just via live stream, this is taking about 7.5 hours, give or take. And I put in a couple of hours getting everything else, all the weapon slots and certain stuff straightened up like that. So I've probably put in a good 8-9 hours into this model already. And it's probably going to take me about 10-12 hours to get everything finalized and straightened up. But that's pretty much all there is to it. Um, yeah, that's it. You got, I showed you how to split the model up, how to do the parts routers, the pivots, collider, hitbox, LOD, all of that. The damage model, the crew, all the slots, weapons, and all that. How to get stuff imported, weapons, all your script stuff to do, and all the comments. So just by following these live streams, you can import any model you want to, apart from carriers and submarines. And if you can follow what I just showed you for submarines, you can import submarines. And I do plan on doing videos on how to do a submarine specifically and a carrier specifically. And I've also showed you some of the specialty specifics for War on the Sea models. Now, for high quality models like water warship models, you will have to split up the model into multiple different sections because you have to remember those indices. Because there is a limit for BSM and model. But other than that, that's it. Give the stream a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and found it helpful. I hope I was able to help you figure out how to import models. And yeah, that's all I got. Until next time, goodbye, everybody.